Rocky? Also, Bill Conti's score is f***ing brilliant and makes you truly believe you too could write a script in 3 days, get yourself the starring role, and become an A-list actor overnight. Also, this impressively oppressive Rocky title and accompanying fanfare immediately feel like they're trying way too hard to impress me. This character is important and we will demonstrate his importance with big letters, bow before him, lesser beings. In case you confused it with November 25th, 1975 in Portugal, where the coup of 25 November 1975 was attempted. This was where Portuguese far-left activists tried to hijack the Portuguese transition to democracy in favor of a communist state. And more Americans probably know about this scene in Rocky than that real-life event. So the sin, as always, is the American education system. I know we all do this shit as spectators, but I wish we f***ing wouldn't. Ask yourself, what am I achieving here? Has any sports person ever heard advice from the crowd and responded with, well, shit, never once occurred to me to try winning?
Want some advice? What?
Refusing advice from your trainer. I don't really understand this attitude from Rocky because, yes, we will learn he has some deep-seated feelings towards the way people have overlooked him since he started boxing 10 years ago, but he also has clear respect for everyone that is trying to help him. So why is he being a dick here? We're supposed to like him, right? If boxing is what brought you here, I hope you made the most of that opening 2 minutes, because that's all you're going to get for the next hour and 44 minutes. I'm going to do you a favor. Got time to watch Reservoir Dogs, Toy Story, or Dr. Strangelove, and with the leftover 4 minutes, I'll get you caught up before the next fight starts. Promise. What is this guy clapping for? He was the one that just put money on the fight going 3 rounds, and then Rocky knocked Spider out in round 2.
You got a smoke?
Yeah, you gotta have this one.
Accepting a cigarette that has already been in someone else's mouth. With these dogs outside the window. You're making them think you're about to play with them or something, and then you're just going to walk away. If you lived behind glass, would you want people poking on the glass all day? Rocky's addicted to dogs. 30 seconds of watching Stallone walk down a street because the 70s says, f*** you to any kind of movie pacing that isn't of the literal kind. Drinking leftover warm beer. I don't care if you were the last one drinking it. You are better off with no beer than you are with leftover warm beer. This movie is 95% Rocky punching air at any given opportunity. Kids! I don't know if it's supposed to show how tough Rocky is, but wrapping ice in a towel or something before applying it to a wound isn't just to avoid pain. It also stops the immediately melting ice from dripping down your arm and onto your sleeves. And no one enjoys wet sleeves. Having a dog that large and a kennel this small, this whole movie is addicted to dogs.
You gotta pay for that turtle food, Rockhead.
Hey, crime don't pay. You know that, Florida. You know that.
So he doesn't have to pay for the turtle food? The f*** is going on here? Does he have a line of credit at the f***ing pet store? You know what? I'd actually like to give everyone involved massive props for putting this movie together in 28 days. It's especially impressive when stretches like this of Rocky just walking make the movie itself feel 6 weeks long.
The guy that wants the 200 now.
I'm so glad we spend more time in the opening 15 minutes of this movie on the Rocky works as a collector for the mob B-plot instead of getting to know who he is as a boxer.
How come you didn't break this guy's thumb?
That Gazzo, man, always wanted to break people's thumbs and shit. The guy's a real maniac.
How do you know I didn't break it?
You don't think I hear things?
How the f*** does he hear things that quickly, though? We know it happened this morning, and it's not like cell phones are a thing yet. Even if they were, there weren't any witnesses. So did Bob immediately start bragging that he didn't get his thumb broken? F***ing Bob.
So long, meatbag.
But he survives this.
Where's my lock? Whose stuff is this in my lock?
Stipper stuff. It ain't your locker no more.
Movie spends the first 20 minutes throwing such an almighty Rocky pity party that you'd be forgiven for expecting the next scene to either kill his dog or make him lose another role to Arnie.
You need somebody to walk you home? Too many creeps around here, you know. Every other block is a creep. You can always tell a creep.
I agree. They're easy to spot because they usually hang around pet stores at night, asking if the staff need to be walked home. Taking your beer into the bathroom.
Every night I pass by the place I tell a joke. Every morning I pass by the place I tell a joke. Nothing. She just looks at me.
It's almost as if the jokes weren't worthy of attention. Or Adrian is under no obligation to give you the time of day just because you keep turning up at her place of work where she can't escape.
Stay in school and use your brain. Forget about sports as a profession. Sports make you grunt and smell.
Or you could do both. Pursue a passion or talent, but make sure you get a good education to fall back on. Of course, that's assuming that getting a good education is a simple matter of choosing to stay in school, which for some, it just isn't. And look, this is some sounds great on a bumper sticker bullshit advice that I don't even think Creed believes.
Hey, did your brother know you're hanging out so late?
Don't you get lost?
Screw you, yo-yo.
This girl with the dirty mouth, she wasn't bad looking, but you see, none of the guys ever took her serious, you see? They never took her out for any serious date.
Rumor has it that this scene of Rocky describing what sort of a woman this young teen should aspire to be like was actually 4 minutes longer, but they ultimately decided to cut the part where Rocky teaches Marie what mansplaining means.
See, he used 30 words and maybe you end up with an award.
I have no fucking clue what I'm supposed to take out of this scene other than Rocky is an absolute asshole, even by 70s standards. I don't know if the movie is trying to paint him as a saint by removing the poor lost girl from the bad influences of the street, but implying that swearing leads to a life of prostitution is making all the bullshit assumptions.
You remember Marie? No, who's she? She's the little whore that hung down the atomic hoagie shop.
And it keeps fucking going.
Screw you, creepo.
Marie would go the distance with CinemaSins and has our wholehearted support to be whatever the she wants.
I get hold of every worthwhile contender, and they all say the same thing. 5 weeks just isn't enough time to get into shape.
I don't know much about boxing, and even less about exercise, but I can't believe that not a single professional boxer wants to fight Apollo Creed. Creed will go on to say that they're all making excuses because they don't want to lose in front of the world, but I'm not buying it. The exposure alone would make it worthwhile, even if they lose. And there has to be someone arrogant enough to think they can beat the world champion, or guess what? We'd never have a different world champion outside of death or retirement.
I've promoted fights in every goddamn country in the world, and I've broken my ass over this one.
Despite that, Apollo is about to come up with a plan that involves fighting an underdog who isn't a professional boxer. And if all the real contenders are out of the question, doesn't this feel like a pretty logical next step? Especially for the best promoter in the world, no?
Apollo, I like it. It's very American.
No, Juergens. It's very smart.
I love that the movie implies those two things have to be mutually exclusive.
Who's this girl you're going out with tomorrow night?
We already mentioned this, but seriously, how the does Gazzo know every goddamn part of Rocky's day? Even if I'm willing to concede he could have found out about Rocky's inability to break thumbs, how did word get around to him that Rocky has a date? Maybe after Rocky accepts the Creed fight and becomes the talk of the town, I could see this information getting out, but that's not the case currently. So how the does Gazzo know all this shit? And for the record, I'm not willing to concede to the thumb-breaking business, because that's still all the bullshit as well.
I'm going out with Paulie's sister.
It's scenes like this that I don't get. Paulie has already made the same disparaging remarks about Adrian, so why are we piling on? The only other thing that happens here is that Gazzo gives Rocky $50 to take Adrian somewhere nice, which he doesn't even f***ing do. It feels like they wanted to break up the two scenes of Creed deciding to fight Rocky, but had no f***ing idea how.
How about Big Chuck Smith?
Yeah.
He's too old and dull.
Yeah, but if 2006's Rocky Balboa is anything to go by, some people quite like old and dull.
Rocky Balboa? Never heard of him.
Look, it's the name, man.
Depending on which way you look at it, Creed is very lucky that Rocky ends up being a very good boxer, even though he picked him purely because of his name. And if that really is all that matters, well, that's a sin for real-life boxing, too.
The Italian stallion. The media will eat it up. Now, who discovered America? An Italian, right?
Well, yes, if your definition of discovering is an Italian working for Spain, finding a place that the Vikings and Chinese had already discovered and was already inhabited, then yes, Columbus absolutely discovered the shit out of America. Go Europe! Happy bicentennial!
Apollo Creed meets the Italian stallion. Sounds like a damn monster movie.
Please, God, please do not be giving Hollywood reboot ideas like this.
I'm tired of you being a loser.
Call me that, Paulie.
Apollo Creed says he'll be shopping for another victim.
Using repetitive news position to punctuate your excessive abuse position.
You want the bird? Go in the alley and eat the bird.
An Italian man wasting almost an entire turkey, or any food for that matter. You can call me Italianist, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Would you like to maybe, you and me go out together? What do you think? Would you like to?
This works.
What'd your sister like to do?
He's only asking this f***ing now? He's been chasing Adrian for God knows how long, and he didn't think to ask Paulie what her f***ing interests were? Look, I'm not expecting this boxing movie to be a top-tier rom-com, but I do wish it would stop trying to be one at all.
See, all I wanted to do out of fight was prove I was no bum, that I had the stuff to make a good pro.
This ice position's on for 3 minutes, and we're in danger of getting to the hour mark before the protagonist is even introduced to the conceit of his own damn movie. It's like the movie is sticking to some rule where you have to get all the backstory done in the first third so that you can spend the bulk of the movie having your characters argue and then wrap everything up in the last 7 minutes. But I'm sure that's not the case. Please?
And I carry pictures of all my fights. I've originally done it in the Baby Crenshaw fight. You see that? Big baby's about the size of an airplane.
Talking all about yourself on your first date. You're lucky Adrian didn't run away from you while wearing the ice skates, Rock.
Worst thing about fighting is the morning after.
No, I think the worst thing about fighting is putting up with the endless copy and paste movies that are inspired by them. Now, the Rocky franchise is better than most, but I'm still pissed at it. And the sport for inspiring the shitty ones. And Death on the Nile, because that movie.
See that nose? That nose ain't never been broken.
Broke nose shadowing.
Why do you do it if it hurts?
Did Rocky just put a lit cigarette in his jacket pocket? Because I'm pretty sure Rocky just put a lit cigarette into his jacket pocket.
Hey, you want to come inside?
No, I gotta go.
And what follows is 5 full minutes of Rocky using different tactics to pressure Adrian into some form of relations with him. And I don't care if it was the 70s. It's f***ed up, gross, and should never have led to the love story that we eventually see.
I came in, I bought this bowl, and I bought the animals themselves, the food, the marbles that go on the bottom there.
Rocky describing the various elements of this tortoise habitat to the person he purchased them from is the most exciting thing that's happened in the last 16 minutes. And yes, my benchmark was the turkey chucking.
Is this you?
Yeah, that's me when I was 8 years old. That's the Italian stallion when he was a baby.
The Italian colt.
Do me a favor.
What?
Take off these glasses.
I know this is supposed to come off as sweet, and I know Rocky is supposed to be a teddy bear of a man, but this comes off really f***ing creepy. You could change the score and it would immediately become a thriller or a horror film, like this.
Do me a favor.
What?
Take off these glasses.
See? It's f***ing creepy.
I always knew you was pretty.
But you know, I just couldn't be 100% sure because those pesky glasses were making you so damn unattractive. Whose bright idea was it to label an invention that a majority of adults need as unattractive? Also, after Rocky pulls a she's all that with Adrian, she miraculously decides she didn't need glasses in the first place and loses them for the rest of the movie. And on behalf of myself and the majority of people that can't choose to not need corrective eyewear anymore, I say, F*** you!
You'd be interested in fighting Apollo Creed for the World Heavyweight Championship?
It has taken 56 goddamn minutes to get this movie started. Now I hear you, and I'm not saying that the first half of this movie is wasted, but it has about as much momentum as Cuff and Link, and the fact that I know the names of Rocky's pet tortoises proves my point quite nicely. In case the preceding scene with Adrian didn't sell it, the director made sure Rocky was eating an apple in the most asshole-ish way possible, so we really knew he was an asshole. How exactly did Pat become king of the steaks? Was there a voting process? Who were the other contenders? I think Pat performed some kind of self-anointing bullshit and Philly shouldn't stand for it.
The reason I brought you is because I want to know if you got any money for training expenses, huh?
Yay, we're back with the softest gangster on the East Coast. You might think Gazzo giving Rocky money for training would lead to something interesting, like him blackmailing Rocky or wanting him to throw the fight. But nope, it means f*** all. Ad campaigns that rely on besmirching your competition. Instead of putting down the competition, why not concentrate on making a product that doesn't burn my throat, you overcarbonated, nose-tingling, tasteless mess? Also, 7-Up. This sin goes out to whoever thought watching the entirety of Mickey walking up these stairs and knocking on Rocky's door was a good use of 34 seconds of my time.
10 years ago, you never helped me. You didn't care.
Well, if you wanted help.
Mickey ends up groveling here despite having a damn good reason for not taking an interest in Rocky until now. Earlier, he told Rocky he was disappointed that he was wasting his life by being a debt collector for a loan shark instead of focusing on training. That seems pretty fair to me. Why not double down on that and instead pitch Rocky the idea that this is his chance to stop working for Gazzo and he'll help any way he can.
What about my pride, Mick? At least you had a pride.
Man, say what you want about Stallone, but this explosion in response to everyone suddenly taking an interest in him after 10 years of treating him like shit is awesome. This clearly shows in the writing and the acting why Stallone got the Oscar nominations. I know that Rocky forgiving Mickey is supposed to give me all the warm fuzzies, and it kind of does, but it's still bullshit that Rocky takes him back. He's been ignored and put down for 10 years, and even if this opportunity is a total fluke, it's still bullshit that he feels obligated to hire Mickey as his manager. Feeling obligated to people who are only around when the times are good. People of the world, I beg of you, please do not consume raw eggs. It may not be this time, and it may not be the next time, but at some point that will f*** up your insides and cause you to forever wince at the mere sight of a chicken. Thinking that Chuck Taylors are good shoes to run in, because they are flat-soled and not even f***ing good for walking in. So they are a terrible choice for running shoes. How did any good athlete come out of the 70s running around in Chuck Taylors? Jogging, wheezing, Philadelphiaing, excitement?
She's got gaps, I got gaps, together we fill gaps.
Because nothing says love like filling the cavernous voids of sorrow in each other's lives.
It's getting cold in here. I think I'm going home.
Cold in here? It is cold in here! It stinks in here! You stink!
Why is this scene? Many seconds of the Italian stallion beating someone else's meat.
Listen, why don't you just make the meat, okay?
Okay, I'll make the meat.
Now that Rocky has conquered the reluctant damsel, she can look forward to a life of conditional rubdowns, meat preparation, and I've honestly seen better female representation in pornos. I mean, my friend has seen better female representation in pornos.
But let her train you!
Okay, no more fooling around.
Which is something he already told Adrian he couldn't do, so why is this conversation?
I got another surprise for you.
Giving people dogs as presents.
Don't do these things to me. You should have called me up.
And how would Paulie do that exactly? You told Adrian on your first date you didn't have a phone, Rocky. Is Paulie supposed to send you messages via carrier pigeon? I want to see that movie. Damn you, Rocky.
I hit the beef here, and I kind of liked it. And since I've become a challenger, the owner don't mind neither that I come in.
That's all well and good, but What about the local Philadelphia butchers who are just now figuring out why their meat is arriving pre-tenderized?
And send the mayor's wife 200 roses from me and make sure we get a picture of it for all the newspapers.
This interview is conveniently showing on TV exactly when Creed just happens to be doing the most superficial shit possible. Nice juxtaposition, but it's about as subtle as 1,000 pounds of cow hanging from a meat hook. Where are my Rocky as a Christmas movie people? Why does Die Hard get all the attention?
And he called the reporters?
Yeah, threw my whole training schedule off.
Their whole schedule? We saw the complete interview and that took 3 minutes tops. Even if they did a couple of takes, which I doubt, maybe it put him back a half an hour. And he was going to the meat place to punch some cows, which is exactly what he ended up doing anyway.
This Paulie keeps asking me for a job all the time, but he don't know nothing about fighting.
Of course, neither of them hears a drunk Polly walking in at the perfect second to hear Rocky say something mildly disparaging about him, because this movie is 4% Rocky punching thin air, 1% actual boxing, and 95% soap opera.
I can't hold me no more.
Rocky decides to enable his alcoholic friend by giving him a job instead of, I don't know, maybe not enabling him.
You're gonna eat lightning, and you're gonna crap thunder.
Taika Waititi's only direction of Chris Hemsworth in Thor Love and Thunder somehow makes it into this movie. Okay, you might have masked it with the now iconic Gonna Fly Now, but this is still a ton of jogging that adds little else to the story other than giving me confidence that Rocky can run up these steps better. Iconic movie scene is iconic and old, but premature celebration is also premature celebration. My hands are tied.
I can't beat him.
Protagonist in a sports movie doubts their abilities right before the climactic event takes place cliché.
Nobody's ever gone the distance with Creed.
Mrs. Creed deniers.
Is he supposed to be George Washington? Obviously so.
It's interesting to note that I and most of us know the character of Apollo Creed well when we're watching this film because we've seen the sequels in all the Creed movies, but he's been in, 2 small scenes before the fight? I realize the movie is titled Rocky, but it's still wild to think that if we never got any sequels, Rocky Balboa would most likely be remembered amongst film fans, but Apollo Creed would be as memorable as Spider Rico. This extremely intense extra and whatever she is staring at. Is it me? Is there something in my teeth? Quit it! The audio we hear here doesn't even come close to what Creed's lips are doing. For those of you coming back from watching Dr. Strangelove, hi, welcome back. And here's what you missed. Rocky jogs home, harasses Adrian, gets life advice from a loan shark, argues with Mickey, the gym owner, harasses Adrian, and argues with his best pal, Paulie. Creed's here! Rocky receives life advice from a loan shark, harasses Adrian, argues with Mickey, finally gets offered his big shot, receives life advice from a loan shark, argues with Mickey, argues with Paulie, argues with Mickey, and argues with Paulie. Creed's here! One last fight with Paulie. Creed's here!
And there's the bell for round 1.
You're welcome.
Good for fun. Stop playing around and give the people something.
Like knocking your ass out for the first time in your career? Oh wait, Rocky f***ing did that with one goddamn punch. Maybe it's you, Apollo, who should be giving the people something. F***ing Apollo. Oh sure, let's just skip most of the fight. Cool. And I'm not saying I want to see all 15 rounds, but after an hour and 45 minutes of waiting, I want to see a bit more fake fighting. I still don't know much about boxing, but surely a doctor would have stepped in by now and called the fight off. And if this is accurate, boxing is a sport, man.
Ain't gonna be no rematch.
There will be. But not enough to put you in Rocky 6. Also, man, does this movie end quickly? Sure, we got a couple of minutes of Adrian, but once the fight is done, the movie is like, I'm out, peace. Alvinson will even do the same goddamn thing 8 years later with The Karate Kid. This is something I'd usually applaud, but on this occasion, wouldn't it have been nice to see what's next for Rocky? How going the distance affected his self-worth? Does Adrian become a believable human being? Did Cuff and Link live happily ever after?
I'm so cold that I'm shivering.
Rubbing sticks and stones together make a sparks ignite, and the thought of loving you is getting so exciting.
Guys are getting better every year, you know that? Hey, your old man did pretty good tonight. Why weren't you there, huh?
Because I don't have much time. I'm a very busy person.
You should have seen me. You guys hungry?
Ooh. Egg and chips. Egg chips, gammon. Chip butties.
I need a Cadillac to connect with your sister.
She's got glasses and a ponytail.
Why don't you talk to him about me?
Some bad hat, Harry.
Well, I've narrowed your choices down to 5 unthinkable options.
I picked number 3.
You don't even want to read them first?
I was elected to lead, not to read.
Never exercised a day of my life. Every morning, I wake up and I smoke a cigarette. And then I eat 5 strips of bacon. And for lunch, I eat a bacon sandwich.
Yeah, all right. Hey, you want to be ringside and see?
I don't know what we're yelling about!